The world isn't just changing, it's being re-engineered. Supply chains are rewiring, green tech is king, and self-reliance is the new global currency. For the Philippines, this isn't just a challenge, it's a once-in-a-generation opportunity. Number 1. Fertilizers. Let's get something straight. The Philippines is an agricultural country. At least, that's what we love to say. We throw that line around like a badge of honor, until you realize our farmers are working with empty hands and overpriced hope. Now here's the slap you awake part. We import over 90% of our fertilizers. 90 freaking percent. The very thing that makes our soil grow food? We don't even make it. It's like calling yourself a chef but borrowing every ingredient from your neighbor, daily, and then wondering why your pantry's always empty. And guess what happens when the global market sneezes? We catch pneumonia. Prices spike. Fertilizer becomes a luxury. Yields plummet. Farmers quit. Families starve. Meanwhile, some middleman in another country eats steak off our plate. You ever wonder why entire rural communities look the same today as they did 30 years ago? Because hope can't grow when the soil's held hostage. Here's where it gets even dumber. We've got brains, chemical engineers, biochemists, soil scientists, environmental geeks, people who could literally make fertilizers in their sleep. We've got land. We've got demand. We've got the reason. So why aren't we manufacturing fertilizers ourselves? Maybe because somewhere along the way, we got too used to being the consumer, not the creator. Too used to the easy road, even when it leads straight into a wall. We romanticize our farmers, put them on posters, then give them the tools of the 1960s and expect a miracle. Spoiler alert, they're not Jesus. They're just trying to feed their kids. Now imagine this instead. We build local fertilizer plants, organic, bio-based, sustainable as hell. Suddenly, we're not begging for better prices, we're setting them. We hire local engineers, truck drivers, quality testers, people with degrees collecting dust in call centers. And here's the kicker. We slash billions in import costs. That's money staying right here, circulating in our economy instead of flying out faster than a Balikbayan box in December. Think it's just about production? Nah. This is food security. This is rural dignity. This is economic justice disguised as a sack of fertilizer. Because every time we wait for imports, we say, we're okay being dependent. Every peso we spend abroad is a peso not feeding a Filipino child. Every ton of imported urea is a slap to the face of the local genius who could have made it cleaner, cheaper, and smarter. And don't get it twisted, this isn't just some eco-friendly daydream. This is national strategy, with a green twist and an iron spine. Look, the world's rewriting the rules. Supply chains? Shifting. Green tech? Exploding. Self-reliance? The new gold standard. And here we are, sitting on fertile land with idle minds and empty wallets, pretending we need permission to fix things. The truth? We're not helpless. We're just unorganized and uninspired. But once we decide to make fertilizers here, everything changes. We stop reacting and start dictating. We stop being price takers and start being price setters. We stop abandoning our farmers and start honoring them with more than TikTok tributes. Because you can't feed a nation with applause. You feed it with policies that grow roots, deep, strong, and proudly local. Here's your curiosity loop. Why do we worship foreign-made products while starving our own potential? We'll get back to that. But for now, picture this. A rural kid, whose parents once fled the province for factory work in Manila, grows up to run a green fertilizer startup, feeding crops, feeding families, feeding the nation. That's not a fantasy. That's what happens when we grow from the soil up, not the scraps down. And if you're thinking, well, sounds nice, but who's gonna fund that? Here's a better question. How much longer can we afford not to? We're already paying the price. With food insecurity. With malnutrition. With farmers who are quitting, dying, or going abroad because feeding strangers in another country pays more than feeding their own. You feel that? That's not guilt. That's clarity. We know the problem. We see the solution. The only thing left is to grow a spine along with the fertilizer. You in? Number 2. Solar panels. You ever just stop and wonder how we live in a country where you literally can't hang your laundry without it drying in 10 minutes? And yet we import solar panels? Let that sink in. We're drenched in sunlight like it's going out of style, but instead of harvesting it, we pay someone else to do it for us, usually China. The sun doesn't charge us a single peso. But China? Oh, they'll make sure you feel the heat on your bill. Now here's the part that stings. We're not energy poor. We're just lazy rich with excuses. We've got natural abundance and national amnesia at the same time, like we somehow forgot that the sun exists for free, 12 hours a day. Imagine standing in front of a buffet of endless lechon, and instead of grabbing a plate, we go borrow one chicken nugget from our neighbor, every day, at interest. That's where we are with solar energy. Here's the brutal reality. We're addicted to foreign tech like it's sugar. Quick hit, zero sustainability, and a massive crash later. We import 97% of our solar panels. 90. 7. That's not a statistic, that's a facepalm. Now, let me hit you with the part no one wants to admit. We don't have a solar problem. We have a backbone problem. We're scared of building. We're scared of failing. So instead, we outsource our future and pray for better weather. But it doesn't have to be this way. See, building solar panels locally isn't just about clean energy. It's about taking back control. It's about creating jobs that don't require leaving the country. It's about finally moving on from the economic codependency we keep romanticizing as global trade. Because here's the twist no one told you: when we build solar panels here, we don't just power homes. We power industries. Real ones. With precision jobs for Filipino engineers. High-tech manufacturing. Skills we can export without exporting our people. We're talking engineers who don't have to fly to Dubai just to afford a decent life. They stay. They build. They raise families, not remittance statistics. It's not a dream. It's a plan. If we stop pretending importing everything is normal. And before someone chimes in with, "But we can't compete with China," yeah, you're right. If we don't even try. But with smart policy and the right international partnerships, the Philippines could be the clean tech powerhouse in Southeast Asia. The sunshine's already here. The talent's already here. The demand? Growing by the second. So what's missing? Courage. Vision. Leadership. 3 things we keep outsourcing because they're not available at Lazada. We're exporting mangoes and importing solar panels. That's like owning a coconut tree and buying buko juice in a can. It's not just dumb, it's economically embarrassing. And yet here we are, stuck in the same cycle, begging for foreign investment like it's oxygen, while ignoring the one thing we have more than anyone else: sunlight. Here's a thought bomb. What if, instead of shipping out our workers to build skyscrapers in the Middle East, we trained them to build solar farms in Mindanao? What if we made Ilocos the Silicon Valley of solar tech? Yeah. Sounds wild, until you realize it's actually possible. But no one's talking about it, because it doesn't fit the tired narrative we keep feeding ourselves, that we're small, poor, and dependent. Spoiler alert, we're not poor. We're under-led. And here's where the metaphor slaps. Relying on imported solar panels while living under an equatorial sun is like wearing a raincoat in the shower and wondering why you're still wet. You're doing it wrong. Painfully, obviously wrong. But here's the good part, the plot twist: we can change this. And fast. We build solar panels here, we slash our fossil fuel addiction like it's a toxic X. Cut the electricity costs that keep Filipino families living paycheck to blackout. Create dignified jobs that don't involve scrubbing someone else's floor overseas. And finally, we keep the profit in our own backyard. We go from exporting hope to exporting hardware. From waiting on aid to selling clean tech. From sunshine rich and power poor to energy independent. All it takes? One collective decision to stop being the punchline and start being the playmaker. Because we've got enough sunlight to power the nation 10 times over, but we keep acting like we need to borrow candles. So here's the part where I ask you, you. When are we gonna stop lighting up the rest of the world and finally flip the switch for ourselves? Think about it. Comment below if you've had it with the import everything mentality. If you're ready to turn this country from customer to creator, comment energy in the section below. Let's make noise loud enough to shake policy. And if you're still wondering whether this solar stuff is hype, wait till you hear what we're not doing with geothermal. Stick around, you're not ready for that one. Number 3. Modular housing. So we've got sunlight pouring over our archipelago like a blessing, and we're still importing solar panels. That was embarrassing. But you know what's worse? You can't plug in a solar panel if you've got no roof to stick it on. Let's talk about that. The thing everyone in this country either avoids, denies, or shrugs off like it's just another Filipino problem: the housing crisis. No, not rent's a little high crisis. We're talking millions living in concrete ovens, flood zones, or 4-plywood walls and a prayer kind of crisis. And before someone mutters, "But that's just how it is here," stop. That mindset is the termite eating the foundation. You ever notice how we're okay with building malls in months, but somehow a low-cost house takes half a decade, 3 mayors, and your grandmother's blood type? Yeah. That's not inefficiency. That's dysfunction. Pain point? Here it is. Over 6.5 million Filipino families don't have safe, decent housing. That's not a statistic. That's a nation of people sleeping in limbo, waiting for a home that might never come. And in typhoon season? That number feels even higher. But before your hope flatlines, let me yank the curtain back on something mind-blowingly obvious, and yet totally ignored in most policy circles. Modular. Construction. Prefab housing. Homes built in days, not months. You know how fast you can put up a McDonald's? That, but with dignity. No, not cardboard box dignity. Steel frame, weatherproof, plumbing included dignity. Here's the kicker. If we manufacture the components here, we're not just building houses. We're building industries. Steelwork. Concrete. Carpentry. Electrical systems. Finishing crews. You want jobs? This isn't Build Back Better. It's Build Fast, feed families, and export the blueprint. We're sitting on an opportunity to turn idle hands into skilled labor and disaster zones into housing zones. We could be the modular housing capital of Southeast Asia. You think Jakarta, Phnom Penh, or Hanoi don't have housing problems too? We solve ours first, and then sell them the solution. Speed, scale, dignity, export. All from the same construction yard. Here's a metaphor that stings. We treat housing like it's a handcrafted wedding gown, beautiful, expensive, and slow to make. But what we actually need is ready to wear, off the rack but still respectable. Something you can build fast, wear proud, and actually afford. Because here's what no one says out loud. It's not that the poor don't deserve nice things. It's that we pretend nice has to be slow and stupidly expensive. But modular housing breaks that lie in half. It's cheaper, faster, more resilient, scalable. It doesn't sacrifice quality, it skips the red tape and concrete bloat. And before anyone throws shade like, isn't that low-class housing? Let me ask you this. Is sleeping in floodwater high class? Is renting one room for 7 people luxurious? No? Then zip it. This is not about charity, this is about catching up to reality. The Philippines isn't behind because we're poor. We're behind because we keep treating innovation like a threat instead of a lifeline. And here's your curiosity loop. You ever wonder why politicians love ribbon-cutting ceremonies but never show up when the roof leaks? It's because drama sells, but durability doesn't. They want to be seen, not to solve. But modular housing? It doesn't wait for cameras. It gets built whether someone's clapping or not. It doesn't care about press, it cares about permanence. Let's drop the mask. This isn't just a housing issue. It's a national self-worth issue. How can a country love itself if half its people don't even feel safe inside their own walls? We don't need inspiration posters. We need walls that don't collapse in storms and roofs that don't fly away like kites. And here's a little bonus. Every time we manufacture prefab components locally, we reduce imports, build skills, and add to GDP. It's not just shelter. It's infrastructure plus hope, in a box. You want OFWs to come home? Give them something to come home to. Give them a neighborhood where they don't have to rebuild after every monsoon. Give them a home that says, you made it. Not one that whispers, you settled. So here's the moment of truth. We can either keep romanticizing poverty with words like resilience and Filipino spirit. Or we can give that spirit 4 walls, a roof, running water, and actual stability. The dream doesn't have to stay a meme. Let's start building it, one modular home at a time. And if you're sick of seeing luxury condos rise while squatters get evicted with bulldozers, comment house below. Let's make them see that the people watching this are ready to trade press conferences for power tools. Number 4. E-bikes. You know what's wild? We can build homes in 10 days now. We can 3D print walls. Ship modular units faster than you can say, permit palang boss. We have steel, labor, land, and still millions of Filipinos sleep on cardboard while condo developers slap another soon-to-rise sign in front of a skeleton with scaffolding. But that's not the only thing broken. You ever looked at Metro Manila traffic and thought, maybe we deserve this? Because honestly, we've made chaos feel like culture. 3-hour commutes are just normal now. Breathing smoke is our cardio. And the guy on a scooter squeezing between a bus and an SUV at 60 kilometers per hour? That's your local superhero. No cape. Just no will to die waiting in line. But here's the kicker. We're still treating e-bikes like they're some futuristic privilege. Like you need to be rich, vegan, and live in BGC to own one. Meanwhile, Vietnam's got over 5 million e-bikes on the road. China? Try 300 million. You'd think we're allergic to solutions. But nah, we're just addicted to the imports. Imported bikes. Imported batteries. Imported parts. Imported logic. Because God forbid we build something for ourselves, right? Let's be brutally honest. We treat innovation like a celebrity sighting. We'll take a selfie with it, talk about it for a week, and then go right back to sitting in traffic beside a smoke-belching Jeep while pretending at least I'm used to it. But tell me this, why can't we make our own e-bikes? No, seriously. Why not? We've got skilled welders. Electronics grads who can't find jobs. Whole barangays of mechanics and fabricators just waiting for someone to hand them something real to build, not just hope or handouts. You want to kill 2 birds with 1 lithium battery? Manufacture affordable, Pinoy-designed e-bikes here, now. Build for our climate, our chaos, our skinny roads and fat traffic jams. Create green jobs in battery production, lightweight chassis design, smart charging systems. Imagine corner vulcanizing shops becoming mini e-bike service hubs. No more waiting for Japan to send us old electric tricycles out of pity. And let's be clear, this isn't just about convenience. This is about sovereignty. Oil is a leash. Imported vehicles are a tax on our future. Every liter of gasoline keeps us dependent on oil giants, foreign markets, and the same broken cycle we pretend we're too poor to break. But electric? We can own that. Imagine your kid riding a locally built e-bike to school. Your nene going to Paylink in something quiet, efficient, and safe. No engine rattle. No gas. No fumes. Just clean, crisp mobility that doesn't sound like a blender dying of asthma. Now here's the mind blower. The average e-bike costs 80,000 pesos today. But build it here, with local parts, and that drops below 40,000 pesos. Half the cost. Double the impact. Oh, but here's the fun part. People still resist this. Because deep down, we've been trained to believe progress comes from elsewhere. That if it isn't foreign, it isn't good. We'll complain about the price of fuel, then scoff at electric because wala namang brand. But what if we became the brand? A brand of resiliency? No, not that kind we chant every time disaster hits. I mean real, measurable, forward-facing resiliency. Building things. Owning streets. Cleaning air. Cutting commute times. Making our own ride the standard, not the alternative. But hey, maybe you're still skeptical. That's fine. Let's zoom out. Do you know how many Filipinos walk 2 to 5 kilometers daily just to reach a ride that might show up, or not? Over 8 million. Now picture this, a fleet of locally built e-bikes. Subsidized. Accessible through microloans. Rechargeable at sari-sari store stations. A literal movement, powered by us for us. Would it solve everything? No. But guess what? Neither did wishing, waiting, or whining. And here's the truth you won't see in the brochures. We're not stuck. We're just scared of changing the rules. Because once we admit that e-bikes could revolutionize our cities, we'd have to admit we've wasted years on the wrong fuel, the wrong roads, the wrong solutions. So let's flip the narrative. We don't wait for a Japanese donor. We don't beg for clean air like it's a luxury. We don't import freedom. We build it. Start with one community. Train builders. Build frames. Assemble batteries. Roll out 100 units. Then 1,000. Then 1 million. Export to our neighbors drowning in the same smog we are. Scale like our future depends on it, because spoiler alert, it does. You still think e-bikes are a luxury? No, friend. Breathing is a luxury. And right now, we're paying a high price to keep choking. We could be the nation that figured it out, that saw traffic not as a symptom of poverty, but as an opportunity for rebirth. This isn't just transportation. It's transformation. And the sooner we stop waiting to be rescued, the sooner we can start owning the road. So what do you say? Should we keep watching other countries speed ahead on bikes we can't afford? Or do we build our own, and take the damn lane? Number 5. Medical devices. Let's rewind for a second. March 2020. You remember it. Supermarkets looked like a zombie movie set. Hospitals begging for PP. Doctors wearing plastic trash bags as makeshift protection. And all of us? Stuck in a never-ending group chat wondering if rubbing alcohol could be used as cologne. Now ask yourself, why the hell were we scrambling for gloves and masks like it was the Hunger Games? Because we outsourced our health. Yeah, let that sink in. We handed our healthcare lifeline to foreign factories, then acted surprised when they prioritized their own people over our panic. But here's the plot twist no one saw coming. We actually could have avoided that mess. If we had the guts to manufacture our own damn medical gear. Let me hit you with a number you weren't ready for. The global medical device market is worth over $600 billion. Not pesos. Dollars. And we're still acting like the only thing we can export is mangoes and English accents over Zoom? Please. We have tens of thousands of STEM grads every year, bored out of their minds, stuck doing admin work or migrating for better pay. We've got engineers coding games in Singapore and nurses operating dialysis machines in Dublin. But right here, at home, we're importing syringes and bandages like we don't know how to use a sewing kit. Let's be real. Filipinos know how to build things. We've just never been allowed to own the factory. Here's the metaphor you didn't ask for but desperately need. We're like the guy who keeps borrowing his neighbor's umbrella and acts shocked every time it rains and the neighbor says no. We need to stop getting drenched and buy our own damn umbrella. Masks, syringes, test kits, prosthetics, these are not moonshot technologies. They're basic. But basic is exactly what saves lives when the system breaks down. And the system? Oh, it will break down again. That's not pessimism, that's math. So what if we built a domestic medical device industry that could handle the basics during a crisis, and compete globally the rest of the time? That's not just preparation. That's power. Imagine this, a Filipino-made ventilator that's not only affordable but better suited to tropical environments and smaller hospitals. Test kits calibrated to our genetic diversity. Prosthetics built for the average Pinoy height and build, not imported from Europe where everyone's built like a Viking. Suddenly, we're not just surviving. We're exporting innovation. You ever notice how the world only talks about the Philippines in 3 ways? Cheap labor, beach vacations, and boxing champions. We're long overdue to add life-saving medical exports to that list. Here's the sting. Every time we import a mask from China, we're not just sending pesos overseas, we're outsourcing our safety, our dignity, and our future. And I get it. People will say, but we don't have the infrastructure. Newsflash, that's the same excuse people used to say we'd never build our own cars, never run our own tech startups, never elect a good leader. Okay, that last one is still pending. But excuses age like milk. Policy is a choice. Funding is a priority. Leadership is an act of will. And we have all three, if we stop pretending the goal is to impress foreign investors and start focusing on protecting our own. And before the naysayers chime in with, but won't it be more expensive? Here's the thing. What's more expensive than waiting 3 months for a shipment of PP while your frontliners die? What's the cost of begging for ventilators on international Twitter threads? What's the price of being the last in line every time the world panics? Spoiler, there isn't a spreadsheet big enough to measure it. Now let's talk upside. A local medical device industry means jobs, not just factory work, but engineering, design, logistics, R&D. And not the minimum wage plus stress ulcers kind. Real, skilled, dignified jobs. We could become the regional hub for low-cost, high-quality medical gear in Southeast Asia. Countries like Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos, they're not looking for luxury-grade, gold-plated scalpels. They need reliable, affordable basics. We could be that supplier. But only if we stop thinking small. Because Filipino-made doesn't have to mean delicate embroidery and canned sardines. It can mean precision tools, bio-safe materials, and next-gen medical wearables. If we're good enough to build remittance empires and call center fortresses, we're damn sure good enough to build hospital-grade equipment. So here's your curiosity loop. What would it look like if the next global health crisis didn't catch us begging, but exporting? Picture the Philippines airlifting ventilators into countries that used to send us aid. Imagine international health NGOs buying our test kits. Visualize Filipino branding on every essential hospital item from Jakarta to Johannesburg. That's not fantasy. That's a manufacturing revolution, if we want it. So what are we waiting for? Another pandemic? Another round of saripa, out of stock? Or are we finally ready to build a future where health security starts at home, and the world comes to us for help? Filipinos have always shown up for each other during crisis. But it's time we show up before the crisis. With science. With strategy. With factories that don't sleep. Let's stop waiting. Let's start building. Let's stop pretending. This isn't just about fertilizer or e-bikes or some shiny dream of local manufacturing. This is about survival, dignity, and finally admitting the truth. We've been outsourcing our future like it's a laundry service. And now? We're surprised it doesn't smell like home. Look around. We have nurses cleaning toilets in Europe, engineers delivering food in Dubai, and brilliant kids who dream not of building the country, but of escaping it. Why? Because we've taught them that greatness lives somewhere else. And here's the kicker, it doesn't. It lives right here, sweating under the sun, riding jeepneys, eating P15 lunches, and wondering why the hell we're still stuck begging for scraps when we've got the hands to build empires. Filipino hands. The kind that built roads on mountains, wired homes on stilts, and survived typhoons that would have flattened lesser countries. So what's missing? Not talent. Not grit. Not heart. Just one thing, a spine. A national backbone that stops buying excuses and starts building legacy. Fertilizers. Homes. Panels. Devices. Mobility. Each one, a middle finger to dependency. Each one, a flag planted in our own damn soil. It's time to stop waiting, to stop begging, and to start building with Filipino fire. Right here. At home. No more imports. No more excuses. Let's manufacture our comeback. In the Philippines.